Good morning and thank you for coming. We have some fabulous panelists for you today. And first of all, I would like to introduce the amazing Miss Hatchett, or Tatiana Hatchett, soon to be Dr. Hatchett. And she's going to go ahead and introduce her team for you.
Hello, beautiful King Drew. How I miss you so much. So today on our panel, we have first and foremost, Alex Mitchell. She is from Louisiana. Up next, we have Chikuti Okoroemeka, who is in, I want to say Ghana right now. Is that right? Okay. Next, we have Falorin Adeyemi, who is also in Ghana. We have Jack Hazard, who is in the States, and I'm not sure which state he's in, but I know he's in the States. Next up, we have the incomparable Evie Ronke Odubela, who is in Los Angeles and should look familiar to you because she has walked the halls of King Drew. I'll let her connect and tell you all about that. Next, we have Victoria Akintunde, who is also in Ghana right now. And did I get everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And me. And I'm in Grenada.
I'm here, Tatiana. Hello, everyone.
Tatiana Jones. Oh my goodness. My soul sister, who's also in Grenada with me. Thank you so much for popping up, Christiana. And we are all in term 4 at St. George's University together. So let's get ready for a great discussion.
Okay, so I'll be the interviewer for today. And my first question is, why did you choose your career?
Christiana, would you like to take that first?
Sure, I'll take this one. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to see all of your faces. So yes, the question is, why did I choose this career? Well, to be honest, ever since I was young, I said that I wanted to be a surgeon. I had no idea what that meant. No one in my family was a doctor. You know, I just was like, I want to be a surgeon. So, you know, with that in mind, I just, you know, stayed focused and, you know, I worked hard in school. I wasn't the best student, but, you know, I still stayed the course. And, you know, I was a little unsure about, you know, do I really want to go to med school? Do I want to go to nursing school? Like, I still didn't have it all figured out, you know? And so it wasn't really until I had graduated from college and I was working at Massachusetts General Hospital, which is a hospital in Boston, Massachusetts. And I was working alongside physicians and they were just amazing. They were very much dedicated to, you know, their research. They were dedicated to, you know, helping their patients and trying to bridge the gap between research and actually treating their patients. And so that's what motivated me to keep going, you know, to strive, to finish my prereqs for med school and to get it done, you know? So it was a great motivator. And that's ultimately why I chose a career in medicine. You know, I was very much motivated, very much inspired by their hard work. And, you know, I think personally, I really want to make a difference. You know, I really want to give back to my community, give back to those who gave to me, you know, give back to, you know, those students that we have here on the call, you know, really like provide an opportunity for those, you know. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And that's why I continue to go every day.
So what key points do you want our students to take from your presentation?
Nina, can you say that one more time, a little bit louder for me?
What key points do you want our students to take from your presentation?
Lauren, would you like to take that one?
I don't know you was about to say my name. Well, first of all, hello, everybody. Peace and blessings to you all. So key points that I think that every single one of you guys should take from this presentation is everyone's story. You know, I feel like all of us, we have different stories as to how we got to where we are and the why we got to where we are. And it's very, very important to really draw from that and really realize that you could see yourself in every single one of us that are speaking to you today, not just us, but anybody in a career that you want to go into. But specifically, since we're talking about right now, I think that it's important to find yourself in us who are speaking to you today and see how you resonate with that and really draw from that. And that's what I think that, you know, you should really take from like these presentations today. It's just really trying to find yourself. You know, I'm gonna say it again, because I really do think that's important, really trying to find yourself in us that's speaking, because I promise you that there's something that one of us is gonna say that's gonna spark, or there's something that's one of us is gonna say that's gonna resonate. So yeah, that's how I would answer that question.
So I also have another senior ambassador, Jocelyn Garcia, who will also be asking questions. So Jocelyn, you could start.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jocelyn. I'm also a senior at King Drew. And a question that I have for you guys is, how has COVID-19 impacted what you do in every day? And could you tell us a little bit what it was like prior to COVID-19?
Okay, would you like to take that one?
Sure, I'll take that one. Hi everyone, I'm Ronke. Some of y'all may have seen me. I used to teach sex ed at King Drew, so that's why I was walking the halls. Also, I'm part of the Drew family. My fiance is graduating from CDU UCLA School of Medicine program this year, so go CDU. Honestly, before COVID, we were on the island, so it was a much different experience. We were basically away from like our hometowns, but at the same time, like we all had the same goal. So we were all very focused. We were all like, all right, like we're all here together and we're all gonna make it. And so it was really like a family vibe. So like all of us here on this panel, like we all kind of became a family. Most of us started from charter. So I can say that's when the family really started. And then COVID hit and nobody really knew what to do. So it was a lot of like school didn't really pause. So it was weird because at the same time, you're like, all right, what am I gonna do? School is still going. I still have an exam in about 2-3 weeks, but people are getting on planes to go back home. Lectures are online, lectures are pre-recorded. So it really took a lot of adjusting. I think the moment COVID hit was the time where we really had to learn how to adapt. I think throughout med school, they're always like, you adapt, you change how you study almost every term, but COVID was like that true test of like, can I really adapt from going to in-person, seeing my teachers every day, seeing my classmates every day, having my study group, to pre-recorded lectures and almost feeling like I'm on my own. So it really just also encouraged us to stay together. Even though we were online, like we really had to keep that togetherness so that we could all make it through and push through.
Is your workplace people-oriented? If so, how do you maintain good relationships with coworkers and your colleagues?
Jack, would you like to take that one?
Yes, I can give it a shot. Well, hello everyone. I am Jack, originally from Kenya. That's why I have some weird accent. But now I'm in Michigan, and I am classmates with all of the guys you're seeing in the panel. So before coming to Grenada to start medical school, I was running a business, a hospital in Kenya, and I would say yes to the question that my workplace was involved with taking care of people first and looking at the interests of the people. And I think that is important because in healthcare, I think the people are more important to the course of what healthcare should be, which is providing health and support. And I think it's important because a community is made up of people and humans, and so when the focus is on the people as opposed to other things like with business, there can be profits. So as a business person, you might be thinking of profits, but when you focus your energy onto the people that you're servicing and how much of that is impacting them and their lives and how they give back to the community that they're involved in, then it becomes very important for a community of connectedness and for being part of this system of supporting others while they give back to whatever business that you're doing. And I think also to the broader sense of just, if you look at a family dynamic where, in a family where you have people, how can I put this in a simple way? If you have people that have various needs in their lives, okay, and the needs have to be, you have people in various needs in their life, and the needs have to be met in different ways. You have to focus that energy onto the individual needs of the people and not really on other things that are not, yeah, I think that's the best I can do with this question.
Okay, our next question is for our King Drew family. How do you think King Drew has prepared you guys for what it is that you're doing now? And if so, could you explain why?
All right, I guess that one's for me. Jocelyn, is that one for me?
Yes.
Okay, ask it again.
Okay, so we're all aware that you are soon to be Dr. Hatchett. So how do you think King Drew has prepared you for, going into this next step in your life?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. King Drew is all love. It's all love, always, even when you feel like it's not. And for those of you who have had the blessing and honor of having me as your teacher, even when it didn't really feel like it, it is always coming from a place of love. And so King Drew has poured into me more than I can articulate. There are no words, really. I am forever indebted to King Drew, the faculty, the staff, the admin, the students, the parents, the community, not just King Drew Magnet High School of Medicine and Science, but Charles Drew University. Cooper constantly threw me alley-oops. She got me on to the IBC, the Institutional Biosafety Committee at Charles Drew University as a community representative. And that went on my resume. She encouraged me to go across the street to Martin Luther King Hospital and volunteer, which I did. Put in about 150 hours, and some of you remember me changing out of my heels and putting on my khakis and my polo and walking across the street and on my way saying, make sure you do my homework, please, and thank you. I mean it. And because of that, I was able to help start their high school division of their volunteer program at MLK. And what I would say about King Drew is don't take it for granted. Just open your heart to receiving all of the love and all of the blessings that everybody there wants to pour into you. If you see Big Mike or Boo on the street and they're, getting after you because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, just know that that comes from a place of love, and if your teachers are not taking your late assignments, know that that comes from a place of love. You might not be able to see it at the time, but that accountability is imperative. Everybody here on this panel is here because they have poured into me sincerely, one way or another. And I would not have invited them if they didn't. But, all that to say, King Drew is a place where you can just and there is no judgment. There is only love and guidance and support. So I feel well prepared because of King Drew.
So this is also a question for Ms. Hatchett. Can you share some good or bad memories from your career after you left King Drew?
Okay, well, all of them are good. None of them are bad. All of them got me here. You know, of course you have your ups and downs, and of course you have your days. You know, we all do. We're human. You know, you guys know what it is. You have teachers, you have parents, you have friends, you know, you have moments of not being your best, you know, and sometimes it gets the best of us, and sometimes we can, you know, pull ourselves back, or, you know, have people around us who can pull ourselves back. What I will say is my last week as a teacher, Taylor Washington, I think you're in here. Where are you at, Taylor? Taylor, you in here?
I'm right here.
Of course you are, Taylor Washington.
Ania's stories on the phone. She said hi. She can't come to the Zoom because her teacher.
Ania?
Yes, Ania.
Okay, we'll give her my love. Tell her to FaceTime her later. Taylor remembers, you know, the last week we did a lot of celebrating. And I remember they put on my favorite hype song. Taylor, you remember what you put on?
Yes, I still have the video with my camera.
Okay, because I do too. So, what was the song? It was Beyonce. Shining, 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 shining.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You didn't give me enough time.
Okay, well.
This went in, I've been losing my mind. Yeah.
So I would say, you know, just moments like that where all the kids would come into my classroom during lunch and sing and dance and study and do homework and ask questions and eat together and cry together and yell together and pray together and, you know, just support each other. It's definitely one of the things that I miss is that 205 all the way live, you know.
Okay, so one of our next questions would be, was college always a step in your way to a career? Like, was college something that you always planned for yourself, or was it something that was, you know, a little whim of the moment?
Kuti, would you like to take that one?
Yep. So hi, everyone. I'm Chukwudi. I go to SGU. Same with a lot of our speakers here. So with college, I mean, I'm Nigerian, you know, my parents are Nigerian. So it's really engraved in our culture to just like go to college, get a degree, whatever it might be, right? But I think for me, I didn't really have, I would say like early on in my life, I had the motivation to want to become a doctor, but it wasn't until later on when I was actually in college that certain challenges came my way to where I had to gut check myself if I was really about that life or not. Because initially my why was, long story short, my mother, she got a PhD in pharmacy. It was the first person I'd ever saw who pursued anything professionally. And so with that, I saw problem solving. I love to problem solve. And then also she was diagnosed with cancer. And long story short with that, the doctors who really helped, Dr. John Miller, who really helped kind of help me put problem solving together with being able to actually make a difference in someone's life. So that was like my why since I was like 8 years old. But once I got to college, it was like, you know, other things came in the way. Like I had other priorities. Like I wanted to be a rapper. There was a lot of other things that I wanted to do. And so with that, I think over the years, I've realized that it's important that our why, or whatever, for whatever reason that we want to become a doctor, that why kind of has to evolve, and we need to, I guess, continually remind ourselves as to why I'm doing this, or why I want to actually pursue medicine. And so, yeah, in college, it wasn't until I transferred from Vanguard University in California to University of Minnesota, and I got around other people who are actually doing this, actually fishing for research programs, actually shadowing doctors who are actually about that life, that like once I surrounded myself with those people, I was able to then remind myself, okay, this is actually what I want to do. Like, this is actually what's within me. And so that kind of, I guess, also speaks to a testament of like how important it is to surround yourself, with the right people, surround yourself with people who are also moving towards the same goal as you. And I know for some of us too, we don't even have access to some of these communities of people who are doing the same thing. But in the end of the day, one thing I used to always tell my brother is like, if you got something like this, like if you got a smartphone, you have access to all the information you need. It's just a matter of like your dedication and willpower to go and get it. So, yeah.
Was your current career your dream career in high school?
Alex, would you like to take that one?
Sure. So when I was in high school, I was involved in a lot of things, and I'm Alex, by the way. And I had to like make this decision. I think it was my junior year, between something called Girls State in Louisiana, or this program called AHEC. And Girls State was like a legislature, getting into politics kind of thing. And then AHEC was more of like a medical thing that we did at the hospital for a couple months. And so I ended up picking AHEC, and just getting to like be in the hospital, and we got to like go through all the different specialties. And I just remember it like really impacting me, because I was seeing all these doctors and how they made a difference in everybody's lives, and how they were so eager to teach us as students, which I really admired a lot, because I feel like there's very few like shadowing experiences where you like truly feel like they want you there and they want to teach you and pour into you. And so that was the best decision for me, honestly, because it allowed me to see a side of medicine that like I want to strive to like become, and to be able to pour into other people. And so it's been a long road, but this definitely is exactly where I want to be. And I couldn't imagine any other like career choice or path to get here, even if there were ups and downs along the way. I think that everything in your life truly happens for a reason, even when it feels like you have to make really hard decisions or unpopular decisions and sacrifices, that you're going to get where you need to go. You just have to like have faith and believe that you are capable, and that there are people that are going to be around you to support you and to pull you along the way.
Okay, next is what motivated you guys to come here today and speak with us on, these amazing topics that you guys have to share with us?
Victoria, would you like to take that one?
Yes, sure. So I'm Victoria, in the same place as all these guys. So yeah, I think that to be given the opportunity to talk to basically the future doctors is very important. I think that, if there's anything that we can impart to you guys to make your journey better, or to give you guys enough confidence to be able to strive, towards your goal to become doctors or health professionals, I think that's very important. And, what I would always say is that you guys are going to be our kids' doctors. You guys are going to be our grandkids' doctors. I think it's very important that we can impart whatever knowledge we can to you. And so I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to drop any sort of gems that I can, like everybody else.
Drop them, Victoria. Let them know.
So for any of the people on the panel, please feel free to share any anecdote or anything you would like to share, like any advice for our students. And also for the students, you could drop any questions in the chat.
Jump in, whoever would like to answer.
Okay, so hi. If you don't know me, this is Cameron Reynolds, and I am a senior from King Drew High School. So I'm just wondering, most of us before the pandemic has the ups and downs. So I'm just wondering, in your high school, in your life, what are your ups and downs? I'm just wondering.
Wait, say that again, Ronke.
You want me to go, or you want to go?
No, go for it, Ronke.
That's a heavy question, but I feel like in high school, I mean, there were ups and downs, but I feel like I didn't really pay attention to them as much. I was actually trying to be a track star in high school. I was like, I'll be a doctor later when I make it to the Olympics. That quickly changed when I got to college and learned that being an athlete is a job. But college was, for me, really my first down. So in case y'all didn't know, I went to college 2012, around 2013. And I went to UC San Diego, which, you know, had a little bit of a racist past. But when I started college, Trayvon Martin had just been murdered. Black Lives Matter was just coming up. So I felt really deep into, like, I wasn't gonna make it. I got to college being like, okay, I'm gonna be a doctor, but I constantly had people telling me, you're not gonna be a doctor, you're not gonna make it. Seeing what was happening in the world, I was like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, can somebody like me even be a doctor? Like, I didn't have a lot of mentors that were looking like me. Like, it was hard and it was tough. And I really didn't think I was gonna make it because everyone was telling me I wasn't gonna make it. And like around that time, my mom was sick, like she got diagnosed with cancer. So honestly, I failed my first year. No cap, failed completely. And I knew I still wanted to be a doctor, and it took until my second year. I had one professor in like African American history who was like, yo, like, you are worth it, you are enough. And if you want to do this, like, you're gonna make it. And so I know like Miss Hatchett's probably telling y'all the same things in your ear. And it really took like somebody reminding me that like I'm enough, like that things happen, life happens, there's ups and downs. But like, if this is what I want to do, and this is what like I have a good reason, you know, Lance had mentioned like the why for doing this is super important and it's always going to change. But like, if that why for me is always there, then like I can push myself and I can make it. So college was really one of my like biggest ups and downs, kind of roller coaster, at least for me.
Nina, what was your question? I'm sorry.
Please feel free to share any advice or words of wisdom. And also, since me and Jocelyn will be starting college in the fall, do you have any advice? And for the other seniors in this meeting?
Christiana?
I'm just trying to think. There's just so much. Honestly, the first thing that really comes to mind is, you know, and Ronke spoke about this. It is so important to have a mentor, have someone who is going to be by your side to kind of, you know, pick you up when you're, you know, when you feel like you're not going to make it. You know, have someone that you can talk to. I think that's the biggest thing. I'll share a story. So in college, I went to Bowdoin College, which is a really like a predominantly white school in Maine. It's very cold up there, you know, and so it was an adjustment for me. You know, I was, you know, feeling like, where do I belong? You know, how am I going to feel comfortable in this space? You know, and it wasn't until, you know, my neuroscience professor, he, you know, he does research, he kind of pulled me into his lab and he was like, listen, you can do research, don't worry about the money, we will pay you. And I think that's another thing, is financial burden. You know what I'm saying? That's something that, you know, I've always had to work really hard, put myself through college, put myself through, taking classes for prereqs for med school. Like I've always had to just do it on my own. So it's really important to have somebody in your corner that is going to fight for you and, help you look for resources so that you can continue on your path. So, yes, Dr. Ramus, he was the one that kind of pulled me in and, was just that angel that I needed, and if it wasn't for him, I swear I would not be where I was today. So find your person, find your mentor. You're going to be in spaces where you're going to be the only person that looks like you, and you have to feel comfortable in your skin. You have to feel comfortable in what you're doing, and find that person that you can relate to, and y'all will make it together. You will make it, I promise you.
Lauren, I think that's a great question for you as well.
I think that whatever you do it 100,000 million%. Like you do it 100%. Because I'll share a little story for me is that, I didn't always think I was going to end up being a doctor. I mean, parts of me thinks that, but in all honesty, from high school, I thought I was going to the league, and from doing that 100% opened up another door. And then from playing football, me realizing that, okay, this wasn't going to happen for me. Then I got into the world of like physical therapy. So I thought I was going to be a physical therapist, and then I had to pivot. And that's another thing, is being able to pivot and not really taking losses, but taking lessons, if that makes sense. So there's no real losses, right? It's all lessons. So in me going towards one place, it's not really working out. It's not considered a loss for me. It's considered a lesson that I can take from that, learn and pivot and move forward, right? Just when I got to therapy, went all the way 100%, didn't work out, right? But I took the lesson and I took a pivot, right? And by the time I took a pivot, now here I am in med school. But the one thing about it is that I'm always moving forward when you pivot, right? You're not moving backwards, you're moving forward. And as you're taking those lessons and as you're moving forward, by the time you hit your target, boom, right there on the money. So whatever you do it 100%, because you never know what doors it's going to open for you. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the day, you always want to be able to say that you gave it your all. That way you can have zero regrets on what you've done, you heard. So, yeah.
Victoria, you want to take that same question?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, I guess what I would say to you guys is that, I think that it's fantastic that, you guys are going to KDHS because, I feel like it's literally your aircraft. Like they've given you an aircraft to dream, as big as you can and to actually like make it towards your dreams and your goals. You have no limitations. And this aircraft that they've given you like is equipped with missiles. Do you know what I mean? So basically what I'm saying is, every roadblock you face and every mental roadblock you face, like, thinking that you're not going to make it, your GPA is too low, you're not good enough, like, you don't have to worry about that because that's what your missiles are for. And your missiles are your teachers and your mentors, Ms. Hatchett, these are your professors. They're supporting you every step of the way. I think that's what Christiana was saying, that's so important to have. And I think one of the biggest battles with, trying to be a doctor is your own mental personal battle. That is what I would say is the biggest battle because, I think it's really important to be able to persevere no matter what, because as Christiana was saying, people are going to say no all the time. People are going to say that you can't do it. People are going to say you're not worth it. They're going to say you won't be able to make it. They're going to look at you and just try and dismiss you at the door. But you have to know your own worth, and that's the most important thing. So it's not a matter of, it's not a matter of will you become a doctor. It's a matter of when will you become a doctor. And I think that's what's most important. Yeah, that's what I want to say to you guys. Persevere. Use your missiles.
Someone in the chat asks, did you lose motivation when your first career choice did not work out?
Chakudi, would you like to take that one?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely lost motivation, like off the rip, because the whole way there, you're gonna have so many people that are gonna tell you that you can't do it. And For me, I've realized that it's not really your job to like know how you're going to get there. Because the truth is, nobody knows how you're going to get there. Your teachers don't really know. Your counselor doesn't know. Your parents don't know. And especially for me, like I didn't have anyone around me that really took that same journey that I did. So for me, I say I lost motivation because I was just overwhelmed with, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. How am I going to get there? Okay, one roadblock comes in the way. Dang, I don't know how I'm going. I don't know what I'm going to do now. And so that kind of goes to like what Florin was saying with like being able to pivot. And so just to wrap that up, just to say like, just take your first steps first and worry about everything later. If you can just 100% on your first step, you got nothing else to worry about. You're already setting up yourself up in a position to get to where you're going.
Someone else said, what is your greatest strength in life and your greatest weakness in life?
Jack, would you like to take that one?
Yes, that's an interesting question. Greatest strength. For me, I would say resilience. And I'll share that about my story, how I came to be here. So I was born in Kenya, I grew up in Kenya, and I went through high school in Kenya and college. So when I finished college, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. So I applied to SGU. I got accepted, but I could not start at that time, it was 2015. So it took me 4 years, I think, 5 years to actually start. And so it took a lot of resilience to wait for that long, knowing that I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but I couldn't at that time. And I also think one of my weaknesses, not knowing when to give up. So sometimes I get stuck on, going when I know that, okay, I should be giving up, but I do not realize myself that, okay, you should give up and maybe try something else. So I also think it takes a bit of learning to be flexible, learning to know when you reach your dead end, and so that you do not overstretch yourself, you do not overcompensate in that way, that you know when to use your energy when you need to use it, and when to change into something else when it's not working. Because it's important to have this balance of seeing how much of your energy and how much of your time you're spending on a particular cause vis-a-vis what it is contributing back to you with regards to your goals in life. And so I would say, yes, resiliency, my strength, but also not giving up easily or when I should be. It's one of my weaknesses. So it's still a work in progress.
So this one is for Ms. Hatchett, I believe. Could you speak to having a very successful established career and then making the decision to another path?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to be a doctor. I have vivid memories of when I was your age, 14, 15, 16. Sorry, there's a truck going by. Perfect timing, huh? I had my own experiences as a patient in Los Angeles, at different hospitals, being treated a particular way. And so I always wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to take their jobs from them, actually, and show them how to do it, show them how to treat people like people and not just whatever stereotype they assumed. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And then life happens. I started a business teaching swimming to get myself through college. And that really made me realize that, we all have skill sets that we've acquired. And I chose the route of pursuing that business, and it really has afforded my family my whole family, opportunities that we otherwise would not have had. In order to continue and maintain that business, I decided to go and I come from a family of teachers. My mom's a teacher, my grandma was a teacher, my auntie's a teacher, my great aunt was a teacher, teachers. And teaching allowed me the opportunity. Am I frozen? Can you hear me? Am I frozen? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You guys froze on me for a second. So teaching allowed me the opportunity to have the flexibility to still run the swim business in New York. And transitioning from being in education to now pursuing medicine again, because I took the MCAT 3 times. I took it the first time in 2005 when it was still paper pencil. And then I took it again in 2007 when I was teaching in Miami. And then so this go around, you guys were my motivators. I realized that I could not wake up and get up in front of you every single day and say the things that I say and do the things that I do, knowing in my heart that I was not being honest with myself around my abilities. I knew that I was not fully reaching for what I was put here to do, you know? And I let the MCAT score and my age, everybody knows on this panel, I'm very much, non-traditional student. My age, my family, friends, life, putting money into retirement, what am I gonna do? My eggs are getting old, I wanna have kids, I wanna get married, all of these things. And at some point, you just have to, like Lauren and Shakuti were saying, at some point, you just have to take a step. You got to take a step out on faith. You got to just go for it. And everybody knows at King Drew, when Nipsey Hussle passed, in my classroom, I showed the memorial. LAUSD can't fire me now, so I showed the memorial, stopped teaching, and it became a healing space for students who wanted to, who needed to mourn and just feel their feelings. But one of the things that I almost every single day hear in my head from Nipsey Hussle is just lay one brick every day. Pretty soon you'll look up and you'll see a wall. But if you don't lay that brick every day, that wall's not going to get built. So in transitioning into medical school, what I would say is what everybody else has been saying on this panel, which is nobody's going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. There are no excuses. There is no reason why you cannot, because you can. You can. You just have to be willing to do the work. So that's really what you got to ask yourself. Am I willing to do the work? I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Someone else in the chat said, what was one of the biggest obstacles that came in your way when reaching your career?
Alex, would you like to take that one?
Sure. So I'm very, very bad at general chemistry, like awful. I made a D the first time I took it, and then I retook it and made a D again. So that was like a really hard thing for me, which is funny because now me and Miss Hatchett are good friends and she's like the queen of chemistry. But I think it's just important to understand like where your weaknesses are and also like how to find resources that can actually teach you in the way that like you learn. And so a lot of me being awful at general chemistry stemmed from the fact that I'm awful at math. And so after all that Gen Chem problems, I became really close with a professor that was going to end up being my physics 1 and 2 professor. And so I was just very honest and very like upfront about the fact that I'm really, really awful at math, all things math. And I actually ended up making an A in both of her classes. And not a lot of people did, just because, you know, like I owned up to the fact that I was really awful at math. And I was very like open to learning. And she actually like had a bunch of things that she struggled with. She actually had like dysgraphia, where all of her numbers and stuff would like move around. And she is like the bomb at calculus and physics. And so like it was just very encouraging seeing someone that also had like a learning disability be able to like see the issues that I was having and to like pour into me and to teach me and to, you know, just be a good example of it's okay if you like are bad at something, as long as you're willing to like put in the work and find somebody that can help you. And so I can never get those D's off my transcript, but you know, me being friends with Miss Hatchett, like she's taught me more about chemistry and us being friends than I learned in all of my chemistry classes combined. So I think you just have to just be honest with yourself and be honest with the people that can help you, and to get resources and to understand that, you know, not everybody's going to be perfect at everything, and it's okay, because I'm good at biochemistry. I just wasn't good at general chemistry. And so just don't lose faith and have hope, and know that you're not the only one struggling at all. There's probably a ton of people that also are awful at chemistry and math. And if you can't think of anybody, just think of me. So yeah, that was probably my biggest issue.
So I think this is a question for everybody. So in the chat said, have you each selected a specialty yet? Is this what you originally had in mind, or has it changed?
Ronke, would you like to take that first?
Yeah, I can go. So I actually I'm choosing child psychiatry. I started out, I guess, long story short, I started out orthopedic surgery because I was in sports, quickly realized that was not for me. Then I moved to OBGYN because I have a bunch of like other issues with like health issues. And I was like, the way y'all treat Black women in health, I was kind of like Tatiana. I was like, I'm gonna take your job. But then quickly was like, I don't want to deliver babies. And actually some of y'all and a lot of the other kids I work with put me on to child psychiatry, because when I would teach sex ed, it was more than just the anatomy. It was relationships. It was decision making. It was like knowing, like when you're in a bad situation, knowing that like you have a voice, knowing that sexual health is something that's important to you. And so I would teach them this, and we would talk. Like I love teaching and having conversations, and I realized that so many kids didn't realize the resources that they had. So many kids were like, oh, I can really do this. Like I can really get this help. Like, is there someone I can talk to? But then also like people would tell me stories, and I would feel for them, because I'm like, man, like I know there's no resources out there for me to give you. And it started to hit my heart, and I was like, oh, you know, because I used to say I never want to work with kids, and I was like, oh, you know, I don't know. And then also I started tutoring people who were intervention students. So like I was their last chance. And I would talk to them, and I was like, yo, like you're smart. Like you just have so much else going on, and nobody's willing to listen to you. And so while tutoring them, we would just have talks. Like I would listen to them. And it really like made me realize, like, even when I was a kid, like I had stuff going on. People were like, you're a kid, you're growing up. This is puberty. This is life. You'll get out of it. I'm also Nigerian. So telling a Nigerian parent you're sad, that it don't go over, right? So and I was like, man, like if I had somebody to like talk to really sit down and work with things through me, like I can only imagine like what could have happened, like what could have changed. Especially when 2020 happened, I was like, all these kids, if I could, I would sit down with all of them and just talk. So that's why I chose child psychiatry and adolescent.
Victoria, what about you?
Okay, sure. Yeah. I think that actually my story is kind of like Dr. Okur's, in where when I started college, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to be a doctor. I was a little distracted, I would say. But, when I started shadowing, I was shadowing a lot of neurologists and, spinal cord injury doctors of the like. That's basically what began to be interested in. And so I'm kind of interested in the brain, kind of interested in surgery. And so I guess if you add 2 and 2, it's neurosurgery. But I mean, it's difficult to do something like that. But that's okay, because I think that, just go with whatever you're interested in, strive for it, and don't close any doors. I think that's what's super important. Don't close any of your doors. How do I put this? Like, I'm open to doing a lot of things. I know what I don't want to do, though. I know what I would prefer not to do for the rest of my life. That's pretty important. And at least you can narrow some of your options, but give yourself a lot of options, And so I'm interested in neurosurgery, but I'm interested in surgery in general. I'm interested actually in orthopedics as well. So maybe I can do what you wanted to do there, Ronka. And yeah, I'm interested in a lot. So I feel like when I do rotations, I'm going to get some hands-on experience. I'll get to I guess it's going to be kind of like shadowing and learning on the job. I'll be able to see what it is that I'm probably a little bit more interested in doing when that time comes. And then from there, I can pick properly. So I feel like don't limit yourself, or don't be concerned that, okay, you don't know what type of doctor you want to become, because you have plenty of time to worry about that. So don't even stress. Just go forward, get into university, get into medical school, study your face off, and just persevere, really. Worry about what you are going to do later, That's it.
For Lauren, what about you?
So before I got to medical school, I was a paramedic. So I was heavily into the trauma emergency realm, and I also was a research coordinator. So I did a lot of research for surgery, trauma and burns, and transplant. So that's the realm that I really, really love. I do believe that I want to become a surgeon. As far as what type of surgery, it's kind of down in between transplant and trauma. That's the kind of realm that I've been around already, and I really, really like that. So, but at the same time, just as Victoria is saying, I'm keeping my options open. I feel like one day, I could walk into the hospital and guys like, yeah, buddy, that right there, that's yours. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to close any of those doors, but leave all of them open. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, though.
Well, I hate to bring this to a close, and I know we haven't heard from everyone at the end, but we're still on bell schedules, even though we're at home. And unfortunately, our period is coming to an end. So we would like to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of your wisdom. And if the students have any final comments, you can put it in the chat for our speakers.
Well, I have to say something. First of all, I want to say thank you for having us. Thank you for having this opportunity for the kids and for us. I want to say thank you to the panelists for agreeing to take the time out of your day. I know how important every single minute is in studying. And so really from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to all of the students, I love you and I miss you. And if you need me, you know where to find me. And if you don't, go ahead and ask Taylor Washington.